It's interesting. You talked recently a lot about anxious attachment and disorganized attachment, and I guess we might as well jump in on that now because I'm curious if you could tell us more about that. It's interesting. I was talking to a friend many years ago, and he was struggling to find, I guess, the love and intimacy in his relationship, and he was going elsewhere. And at one point, he said, do you feel love? Do you feel enough love, or do you have to go find it too? And I immediately thought of my community, and I was like, man, I feel so much love. It's not actually, it's not, this man-woman love. That it was just so much love from all these different members and the relationships I had with the guests and my community. And I was just like, I feel like I have tons of love, even if, it wasn't relationship-based. And it was just something interesting to note that he was struggling with one thing, and I was seemingly to replace that with something that wasn't even obvious that it could work for him. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the attachment things that you talk about, but it just came to my mind.
Yeah, I mean, we all have some, this attachment work, I think, is one of the best things that's come out of the therapeutic industry or the psychological industry. Outside of maybe Carl Jung, I think the OG Carl Jung is still, I think some of the stuff that he created was phenomenal. But there's a ton of work that was done by John Bowlby and the like. And what they found was that in the first few years of your life, predominantly in the first few years of life, it can be interrupted and changed as you grow and develop. But mostly in the first sort of 3 to 5 years of your life, your attachment style is going to start to form to your caregivers, right? To mom, dad, whoever your caregivers are. And ideally what we want is a secure attachment. And that secure attachment is based off of a few different things. Number one is the trust and the understanding that our needs matter and our needs can be met by somebody else, right? So your needs matter, your needs can be met by somebody else. The second thing is that you can go through a tough time in relationship with somebody else and come out the other side okay, right? So we can go through hardship, we can disagree, I can try and express that I need something and maybe I'm not doing it right. And so you kind of misinterpret it and it leads to a conflict, but we come out the other side okay, even if that doesn't happen, right? And we can circle back and we'll try again. So these are some of the basic building blocks of what creates attachment. It's a healthy, secure attachment. And my good friend Dewey Freeman has a great attachment cycle that kind of explains the whole thing. But essentially when we're young, we have needs, right? We need to be taken care of by other people. And we express those needs when you're a baby, like my daughter who's 10 months old. She kicks, she screams, she cries, she acts adorable. She does all these things. It gets my attention, gets her attention. And we try and figure out, what does she need? And as a kid, it's pretty simple because, she either needs food, she needs a diaper change, she needs to be held and loved. That's kind of it. And when those needs are met, what happens is a child will learn, oh, my needs matter. I can communicate my needs effectively and the world's okay. The world's a safe place to be. People care about me. That cycle for infants plays out something like 30, 40 times an hour, right? So if you're around an infant, around a baby, they're just doing that constantly, right? They're trying to get your attention, et cetera. So as we get older, this attachment cycle just evolves, but essentially it evolves around the same thing. I need food, I need interaction, I need communication, I need expression, I need to be able to express myself in relationship and have it be received.
Investment Club. Today, I consider it the best investment that I've ever made. We get 4 projects presented a week by their associated CEOs. Personally, I'm completely blown away by the quality of these projects, and I know of nowhere else where I would be given this same opportunity. Each week that passes, I feel more appreciative of the fact that I'm a member of this group. The vibe was just tremendous. Everybody's on the same wavelength. We just clicked. Everybody listened to each other, enjoyed their company. It was just magical, magical. Take action. Don't take my word for it. Due diligence you need to do. And I really hope that someday down the road I see you in the club. It far exceeded expectations, without question.
I need to be able to ask for what I need in relationship and have it be received. And so as we get older, this same cycle still plays out, and that forms secure attachment. Now, if we have interruptions, it will create, and there's different labels, right? Anxious attachment, avoidant, disorganized, fearful, those types of pieces. So as we have interruptions, it will create these behaviors. And I can give you sort of like high level pieces for each of the different attachment styles to kind of give some insight. Like anxious avoidant is, I need you to be okay in order for me to be okay. So you'll see an anxious person constantly like checking in. Are you all right? You seem a little off today. And what's really going on is that their internal state is disrupted. They need to know, are you actually all right? Is everything okay with you before they can be all right? So there's a lot of externalization. There's a lot of oftentimes love bombing, like let me give you a whole bunch of love that you will hopefully give to me in return, right? And so Dr. Robert Glover calls those covert contracts. I'm going to give you something with the unspoken expectation that I get something back in return. Anxious people do this all the time. I'm going to try and do everything for you, make everything good for you so that hopefully you ease my internal state, you ease my anxiety and help me feel better. Avoidance are the flip side of that. It's, I don't need you in order for me to be okay. I'm better on my own. And so avoidants tend to, as soon as things start to get more close and intimate, they will start to pull away from the relationship because in their past, intimacy, closeness, that was the threat. Relationship was the threat. Whereas for the anxious, not having relationship was the threat. So you can think about a baby being left for too long, maybe mom's kind of tuned out quite a bit and she's kind of spaced out or she's super busy and the baby's left by itself a lot. That'll create anxiety within a baby, right, over time. Or on the flip side of the spectrum, it'll induce a kind of shutdown, like, screw it, relationship's not safe, I'm not dealing with this. I don't want to be involved in a relationship. So avoidance, it's, I'm better off on my own. I'm better off on my own. I'm safer on my own. There's not really anybody else I can trust but me. It's not safe for me to express who I am in the relationship fully. And so what you usually find with avoidance is that the relationship will kind of reach this peak, this place where all of a sudden there's some closeness and some intimacy starting to happen, and they'll start to pull away. Or if things have gone too well, the things have gone well for too long, they'll kind of throw a grenade in. They'll pick a fight, pick an argument, and you know what? I'm not talking to you for 2 days, right? And they'll just peace out. And then the last one that I'll give you, and there's sort of variations on this, but the last one is disorganized. And the disorganized is basically a variant on both avoidant and anxious combined. So the way that I like to look at it is that the disorganized just does not have a strategy to do relationship or to make and maintain connection. So the anxious is, I'm anxious around connection and relationship. The avoidant is, I'm hesitant and mistrustful of relationship. And the disorganized is, I just don't know how to do this. I don't have a strategy to make or maintain continuous connection. So I just said a bunch. So maybe I'll just pause there.
And so should everybody, when they're in a relationship, be looking around thinking, which one are you? And then I'm going to deal with you accordingly? Or should they be aware of that? You said it was one of the most powerful theories that you're aware of. Is that important? Because I wouldn't necessarily have looked at relationships through that lens, friends or intimate relationships.
I don't think that we need, lots of people in the therapeutic space go down the path of like, I'm an anxious attached, I'm a fearful, disorganized, those types of labels are more for the clinician. It's more for the person that's working with a client or a patient than it is for the actual individual. I think one of the challenges of modern day social media is therapy speak is everywhere. And people are self-diagnosing and diagnosing everybody else around them. You see a video on the internet and you're like, that person's a narcissist.
Yeah.
So this isn't about pathologizing yourself or your partner. This is more about understanding the behaviors and the decisions that lead to security and trust and intimacy in a relationship, and the behaviors that don't. And then maybe if you start to notice, like, actually, I really eject from a relationship a lot, or every time I get into a relationship, I'm an anxious, complete mess and disaster. I text bomb the crap out of the other person. Then maybe you might want to go and understand those topics. But otherwise, what's helpful is understanding what actually builds security in a relationship. That's the important piece.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing in crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.